Campaigns in Ohio are strategizing for a potential primary election delay. The redistricting process was supposed to be completed last fall, but the Ohio Supreme Court continues to rule against maps drawn by the Republican-dominated Ohio Redistricting Commission, saying those lines unfairly benefit Republicans. But the state Supreme Court is delaying pushing the primary dates back. Professor Nancy Martorano Miller is here to talk all things Ohio. She is an associate professor of political science for the University of Dayton. Professor, great to have you with us. The Ohio Supreme Court recently rejected Democrats' efforts to delay the primary. What is the effect of that, and what was the basis of their suit?
The basis of the suit has to deal largely right now with state legislative maps as well as the congressional maps. At this point, I think the congressional maps can move forward on the May 3rd primary, given the recent order from the state Supreme Court that came out yesterday. There was a technicality in the original order to redraft the congressional maps that meant if the second set of maps needed to be challenged, they had to start the process over again. So a series of hearings haven't been scheduled until after the May 3rd primary. There were parties in federal court today arguing for instituting some maps for state legislative races, so the state legislative races could also be on the May 3rd primary. So there is the potential that what happens in the federal courts could impact the congressional primary if the federal court orders the primary delayed or moved so all races can be on just one election.
I'm really glad you mentioned that and made that distinction, because people sometimes think it's only one map. It's the congressional district maps, and then it's the state legislative maps, which is state House races, state Senate races, different maps entirely. And there are jurisdictional issues there, there are fairness issues there are racial dimensions there, and I'm glad you separated one from the other. And let's hope for everyone in Ohio that those elections can happen in a rather seamless way, but lots to be determined. So Ohio attempted, Professor, as you well know, to make this redistricting process bipartisan. Big picture question, how'd that go?
It has not gone very well. There are actually two processes. The process for the congressional districts is slightly different than the process for the state legislative districts. The congressional districts start in the state legislature, and if the state legislature can't draw a map that gets 3/5 of state legislators to vote for it, including a majority of each of the two major parties, then it goes to the Ohio Redistricting Commission, which is where it ended up. In that case, in order to have a 10-year map, you need a majority of the 7-member redistricting commission that includes at least one member from the minority party. In this case, it would be the Democrats, and they haven't been able to pass a bipartisan map.
Wow. So stay tuned. And as you well know, and as I hope you'll explain to our viewers, there are lots of interesting dynamics, to put it mildly, in Ohio's Senate and gubernatorial primaries. Give us a view from about 30,000 feet.
The view from about 30,000 feet is it's a very crowded Senate field on the Republican side. There are 6 candidates. 4 of them are polling in competitive ways. So we have Josh Mandel, who's already run for Senate once in the state, as well as Mike Gibbons and J.D. Vance and Jane Timken are the 4 in the top tier. And there's no real clear front runner. All of them are working very, very hard, I believe, to get an endorsement from former President Trump. I don't think he's ready to weigh in, probably waiting to see if a front runner emerges. And there have been a number of fairly contentious Senate debates over the past couple of weeks where the candidates are sparring with each other.
And on the governor's race?
On the governor's race, Governor Mike DeWine has 2 Republican challengers in the primary. There are no debates. Governor DeWine had decided he was not going to participate. So Joe Blystone and Jim Renacci decided that they were also not going to participate. Both Blystone and Renacci are targeting most of their ads toward Mike DeWine's early pandemic decisions, in which he did pass or use executive order to impose mask mandates and shutdowns. On the Democratic side, there are 2 Democratic candidates. They debated last night. They're both Nan Whaley and Cranley, who both are former mayors from Southwest Ohio. They debated. They didn't really attack each other, but they did attack Mike DeWine's record more often than not.
Professor Nancy Martorano Miller, we thank you so much for your time.
All right.